Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 2 of Capstone. So, if you remember, last week I talked briefly about, starting to think about what it is you want to do, starting to plan for the future, because that's what the Capstone is all about. It's about planning for the future. And so, really, this week's video, and like I said, not every week's going to be a lecture necessarily. This week is, we call it a lecture, but it really is just a brief overview of the assignment sheet and to kind of give you the real expectations and what to expect and what you should be working on. So, that being said, there is one other thing I want to specify if I haven't said it already, and I believe I did, but if not, it's fair. Throughout this process, it is you working on the project and sending it to me. If you have questions, if you want to talk directly one-on-one with me, reach out. We can do that. That's how this kind of works. This isn't like a traditional class where you sit, you take notes, and then you come see the professor. No, this is all you driven. So please feel free to reach out to me, email me, see me during office hours. I'm physically on campus Tuesdays, Thursdays, in the morning and in the evening. So please. Anyway, we're in week 2 and we're talking about the portfolio assignment sheet, which is, as you can see by my screen, I've been showing the whole time. It's under week 2. It's also in the course specific content. So here we go. And I'm going to just pull it up all the way so that you can see it. And here we go. So I've been using the term portfolio, and for some people that is a new term, for others it's an old term. I apologize, my daughter's a little antsy and loud right now, but that's okay. That's just, what they do. It's okay. Anyway, so portfolio itself is really just a collection of your work. That's what a traditional portfolio is considered. For art programs, a portfolio is a demonstration of your greatest works. In English, it's a collection of your best writings. In technically the science fields, it would be experiments that you've run and things that you've talked about. Here, in this context, some of you might want to choose writings that you've done for your criminal justice classes, or even classes that you've done outside of CJ but have made it focused on something related to your proposed future career, something related to criminal justice. So, that being said, the assignment sheet, I lay it out pretty honest with you. The portfolio assignment is just as much for me as your instructor as it is a tool for you to use. As an assignment, it is the final collection of your work and proof to your professor, me, and the school, EC3, that you have earned the necessary knowledge from the program that you will be able to succeed and thrive after graduation. Okay? So for us, this is seeing that you have a plan. For you, the portfolio acts as a quick reference collection and a guide for you as you graduate from EC3 and make your way into your career. To ensure that the portfolio can achieve both goals, certain information will be required. Okay? So, my dream in a perfect world is that the portfolio you submit to me, you keep, you have it, and you're able to look at it and go, okay, here is my 10-year plan, and I have to set my goals, and I'm going to check in with myself. That's what the portfolio should be used for. For my purposes, it's to see that you have a basic understanding of what is needed for the career and what you're going to do. That's it. Okay? So, the important information required. You'll need to gather important information about your future career and begin preparing for your life after graduation. You'll need to gather important documents like your academic transcripts, your resume, a list of references that you can use during the application process, lists of clearances, special certifications, and tests you may have for your career. This means even if you have something from outside of EC3, like CPR certification, or you're already a certified nurse or something, those are all certifications that are worthwhile having as part of that. You'll also need a self reflective essay about your experience at EC3 and how you plan to move forward into your chosen career path, a realistic set of goals, and a plan on how to achieve your career goal, and any other necessary documentation that you can quickly and efficiently gain access going forward. So I want to break that down just a little bit further because it's a lot of pieces. And it's why I said you're not writing a paper, you're gathering pieces. The only thing you're really writing is a self-reflective essay and an interview reflection. I'll talk about that later. So like legitimately, this class is not a lot of writing, it's a lot of gathering. So, the important documents. If you're transferring to a four-year institution, you need your transcripts. A lot of jobs, if they want college credits, they want to see your transcripts. So having access to your academic transcripts, even a student copy, is helpful. You'll want officials when you're actually done and graduated and it's posted, but getting a student copy is always great to have it so that you can always say, here's a student copy of it, here's what I earned. I can always get you an official one because that process does take time. So by all means, having your grades, your official grades in that official document is perfect. You want to have that ready. Your resume is a clear piece, especially if you're thinking about what your career is going to be. You want to make sure you have your resume updated. And one of the things that I try to tell people is that I don't mean just make a resume that covers every job you've ever had. No, now's the time to start tailoring your resume to whatever the career you want. If you want to go into corrections, think about all the jobs that you've had where you either work directly with people or you've had some kind of interaction with people who can be difficult, any type of conflict management, resolution, all those things, that should be on your resume. Not, I worked at Walmart. Okay, great. What'd you do at Walmart? I stocked shelves. That's not really going to be relevant for something like corrections. Now, saying you worked front line as a cashier, that's dealing with a lot of public general people. That's something you could put. So again, our resumes, we want to make sure that they're updated and they're actually focused for the career we want. Obviously, I tell this to students all the time when they're starting to think about jobs. You want to make sure you have a list of references that you can use. Talk to people that you want to use as references. Find out if they're okay with you using them as references. And have their key information written down. Not necessarily so you can just give it away, but that way you don't have to look it up every time. If you have it as part of your portfolio, you always have an instant access. I tell people try to have anywhere between 3 and 5 references as a good start. 3 solid references are always great. Some places will only ask for 1 or 2. Some places ask for more. So it never hurts to get multiple people. The other thing I'm going to say seriously about professional references, always try to include somebody who knows your work and your work ethic. So a supervisor, coworker, things like that. It doesn't hurt, depending on the field, to have a reference from a professor, a teacher. Obviously, I'm one potential option. If you're going to use me, please talk to me before that. But by all means, use a teacher who you really enjoyed, you had good time in their classes, you did well. A lot of teachers often will write a decent reference and recommendation for you if you were a good student and that kind of thing. So by all means, that helps. And then I always say a professional but personal. So I wouldn't say like your parent or your sibling, but a long-term friend or someone that you've known. Maybe you worked with them years ago, but you haven't worked with them in years, but you still keep in communication. You want someone that knows you personally, that can talk about your qualities that aren't necessarily seen on the job. Having those kind of three bases covered is really good. By all means, if you have to use someone who's family, that's fine, but I will always push people towards people that aren't related to you. It always looks better. List of clearances. This I say to anyone who plans on going into any field that requires certain background checks and clearances. It doesn't hurt to get some of them early. Obviously, depending on the type of job you go into, you might have to get a certain set of clearances. But if you already, let's say you volunteer in your spare time and you deal with kids, so you have maybe your Act 120 clearance already, or your child abuse clearance for whatever reason, have a copy of that ready. So that way if people say, hey, we're going to need these clearances, you can provide what you already have. And if they say we'll need an updated one, you'll be like, that's no problem. But at least they can see that you have no history of it, and that's always good. Obviously, like I said, special certifications and tests, this is one of those things where I say, if you're going to be a police officer, you're going to have to take the police academy. You're going to have to enroll in the police academy and pass all their things. But if somehow you already went to the police academy, you passed all that stuff, and you're just taking college credits to move up and do something else, I would say that kind of thing would count as special certification or tests. You've already taken that. Include that as part of what your portfolio has. This is where, again, I say if you've worked in the medical field, you're a registered nurse or nurse practitioner or LPN or caregiver or any number of things. Heck, certified teacher, teacher's aide, anything that might help in your career, you should have that. Have that as a quick reference. Even if it's lapsed, even if, your certification was only for 10 years and it's now year 11, so it's 1 year past. You can specify that you had it for 10 years and that you would be open to, recertifying or whatever that might be. It always looks good to have some kind of history of background that you have. Like I said, the self-reflective essay, that's something that we're going to talk about. It's an assignment for this class. And I'm going to tell you right now that self-reflective essay is really important for you. It's really about you figuring out who you are and where you've come from. Okay? Obviously, the realistic set of goals and a plan to achieve your career goal, that I'm hoping that if you don't have those now, that by the end of this course you will. You'll know exactly what you want to do and how to get there. Or rather, you'll have an idea of how to get there. Okay? So this is already my charge to you. Not only do you want to start working on this, but I'm going to tell you right now, here's the time to really focus in. What do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? Nail that down. I would say by the end of this week, you should have 2 or 3 career goals that you want. Okay? You don't have to give them to me. Not yet. But try to have 3 by the end of the week. And then any other necessary documents that you can quickly and efficiently access going forward. This will just depend on what career you're going into or what education or whatever that might look like. Those will all be the specific for that job, and we'll talk about that in the coming days. So, this is the project. This is legitimately what the class is based on. So, this assignment is worth 200 total points. It's a majority of our class. 50 points for a mid-semester check-in on your portfolio. And legitimately, that is you and me talking about your portfolio. That's it. It can be through email. It can be through Teams. It can be through Blackboard. It can be through in-person conversation, whatever. As long as we talk about what your portfolio is during the midway point of the semester, you get the 50 points. And then 150 for the final portfolio, which is graded very simply. 50 total points for structure, formatting, grammar, and spelling. Legitimately, you include all of the sections I ask you to include. Things are spelled correctly. You've gone through it so that it looks not only correct, but it's professional. And we're good. That's the formatting. Like I said, this isn't a essay. This is a collection of your work. So by all means, the formatting should just be professional and appropriate. And then 100 points for content. You have 25 points for that reflective essay, 25 points for your goals and plan, 25 points for your interview reflection, which is what I was talking about, is the later part of this semester, and then 25 points for having resume references, education, and clearances. Please hear me. Not everybody needs clearances. That's why it's on that list. You all have education. You've been here. Have that transcript. If you've gone other places, have those transcripts, even the student copy. Your references and resume, those are non-negotiable. You get 25 points for having all of those pieces. If you have the resume, the references, and your transcripts, you'll get the 25 points. If you have the clearances, you get the 25 points. If you don't have the clearances, that's okay. But be aware that some of your jobs that you might want to go into will require it. This is what you need to start focusing on. Like I said, week 1 was really just getting used to what this is going to look like, and we talked about the syllabus. Now, I'm charging you. This is what you have to do. Start working on your portfolio. Start gathering the content you need. Start pulling out your resume, dusting it off, and updating it. Contact your reference people and see if they'll still be your references. If you went to other schools, get your transcripts ready, your student copies. If you can technically get one now for EC3, but it's not going to have this semester at all on it, so I would just wait till the end. That's the one that I'm okay with not being totally up to date with the final piece. Start thinking about what your career is, what your next steps are, because all of these pieces, they build on each other. All right? That is the portfolio assignment. Please, that is your task right now, is to start focusing on that. As far as where we are in the syllabus, that's why I went here. Gathering of evidence, artifacts, the general design, this is what the portfolio is. Next week, we're going to talk about research in criminal justice, general research guidelines, because we need to talk about what looking for a job is, finding the required experiences, learning, and licensing. We're going to talk about what reflective learning is, and that's where the self-reflection essay is going to be. Okay? So, start thinking. What does the future look like? What does the career you want look like? All right? That's it. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from some of you, and over the next couple weeks, I'll hear from all of you about what you plan on doing. Like I said, any questions, anytime about what you want to do, where you're going, how this is working, reach out. I won't know how you're doing unless you talk to me. Okay? But I'm here. All right. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next video.